Another day, another studio. Studio in quotation marks.
We are like secretly using an office in our co-working space. We're like, quickly set up, go for it.
And I bet you someone's going to come in.
Halfway through.
Or like, you know, when you're just annoying 5 minutes to the end. And you're like, excuse me, but this is startup life, you know, saving money here and there.
Luke was just saying like, gosh, if people could see what I was doing this morning, I think you should explain.
It was just like, you know, when you have those moments, like, so we have such ambitions for the curve and we so many aspirations and it's so exciting. But there's moments where you go, gosh, I'm going to look back on this and probably laugh at the situation of, you know, when you're manually cutting out name tags, or like this morning I was literally.
God forbid you have to manually cut a name tag.
No, but you know, when you get to a size and you're like, oh gosh, it's more the things you do as a co-founder because you need to do everything. Your job description ranges from cutting name tags to all the way up to making strategic decisions. It's like crazy. Yeah. And this morning I was just like, I just moved into a new place and I was naked, had my pants on the ground, busy steaming my pants while I was trying to run out the door to get to another meeting, which I was probably going to be us laugh. And this one I forwarded to Soph and I was like, lol.
Okay. It wasn't like, hi, how are you, or anything. It was just some feedback maybe, why do the beginnings of your episodes drag on? That's not the right word, but it takes a while before the finance chat kicks in. And the endings are always rushed, like, gotta go, bye, or have somewhere else to be, rush. Don't take this as an offense, but just something I've noticed.
I mean, hats off.
Honest. Yeah. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But also I do want to tell a funny story that has nothing to do with finance.
Well, we better leave time for the finance content.
You know how just before I was like, oh, haha, moustache joke. The reason that came to mind is because, you know, Emma, so we interviewed this awesome girl that we've made friends with in the co-working space, Emma Louise Boynton, who actually we're going to get on the podcast. We've interviewed her. We're just editing it. Anyway, it's all about sex and money because she has a platform called Sex Talks. So at the co-working space that we work in, there's like a separate kind of gym sauna area, and I bumped into her in the changing rooms and she was like, do you know what? The other day someone was doing my makeup for Sex Talks and she was like, do you have tweezers? I've urgently got to get rid of your moustache. And I thought, I don't think it's all good to point out stuff that people need to change about their face. You know, if you go in for laser on your legs and they're like, have you thought about lip filler? It's like, no,
thank you. Yeah.
No, it's not your job to point out what I need to spend more money on to change about
But isn't that their job to upsell?
I don't think it's appropriate. I don't know if anyone works in the beauty space. Can you tell us, is this something you get told to do? Because
I have a hair that comes out of a mole.
Oh, same.
And I feel like an old woman. Sometimes I forget about it and like I'll just catch my eye and I'm like,
I actually found one on my cheek the other day. It was just a random black hair.
Yeah.
And I thought, good Lord, how long's that been there? And no one's told me.
We're so vain.
I mean, it's fine, but like a cheek hairs kind of could go.
Yeah.
Just a singular big long black one. Hey, before we get cracked into the finance chat,
which we should hurry up with.
Which we should obviously hurry up because someone's starting with N. We're not going to out her, but she'll be like, hurry up. So last week.
N and rhymes with fancy.
What?
Don't even know if that's her name. I just thought that was kind of good.
It is.
Is it? Oh, fuck. Is it? Oh, sorry, Nancy. No, just jokes. It's not Nancy. We just made it up.
That's not Nancy. It was so close.
Oh.
Anyway, so last week we put a podcast episode out that you weren't on, which, by the way, felt quite strange to me.
I honestly felt like...
You felt left out?
I was like, she doesn't need me. She's grown up.
Trust
you know,
me,
when someone's left the nest.
Definitely don't enjoy talking to myself in a room
Yeah.
It's not fun. It's
Yeah.
way more fun doing it with you.
Oh,
But
stop it.
the reason we did it is because it's been, like even to Vic's like naked steaming pants on the ground comment, like it's been that would be the epitome of what our life has been the last probably month really.
Yeah.
And we thought, you know what, we don't have time for the podcast this week. We're going to have to say why. So anyway, for anyone that missed it, we're in the middle of we've just decided we want to raise capital. We want to grow the curve way faster than what we can.
Yeah, so we just need external funding too. We've just got so many ideas that we want to push play on, and we need money to do that. And so we want this to be an amazing platform catering to all different types of women at different stages of investing. And to do that, we need some extra help because it is only Soph and I, well, and Emily, our podcast editor, who's amazing.
Hi, Emily, I love you.
But yeah, we do need help. And money, like we say, is time. And so with more money, it can buy us more time to look at big picture things and make some really exciting decisions.
But we've had some really cool people get in touch after listening to that, and I kind of didn't expect it. I wasn't saying that with the intention of really getting – I was jokingly at the end. I don't know if you listened, by the way, but I was like, if anyone's got 100K.
I always listen.
No, you don't.
I did listen to that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, we had some really epic people get in touch and also just amazing messages of support and being like, hey, you should chat to this person, or like
so
this person
you.
would be a great person for you to speak to for this reason. Like, anyway, I just wanted to say thank you for all the amazing messages of support. And sorry if you can hear a siren. We're in the middle of London.
That's London.
Anyway, now we can move on. Finance chat.
Finance chat. So it's Easter. So I thought I'd do a little Easter special.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why didn't you bring chocolate as treats?
We've just been talking about how hectic our week has been.
It's the little things, babe.
I know. It's also the big thing. It's all the things in between.
Sorry, I don't. You know, when someone's like, you okay? And you're like, no, not really. Sorry, I take it back.
No. So it's Easter, and there has been a bit of, I guess, commotion because the price of cocoa is skyrocketing, like going up and up and up and up and up. And it has increased. It's doubled already this year. So we're only, 3 months in this year, and the price of cocoa, which is the main ingredient in Easter bunnies and Easter eggs.
I got it. Thank you for pointing out the obvious.
Is just going, like, it's almost could be one of the best investments people are saying this year would be if you'd invested in the commodity cocoa. And
so is cocoa a commodity because it's an ingredient, or it's from the earth, or it's a
yeah. So commodities are kind of rare earth. They could be, it's gold, it's aluminium, it's cocoa, it's coffee, all those things.
I didn't realize that.
Cotton, because that comes from a plant. Corn.
So it's like natural resources.
Yeah. Okay. Even milk powder, that's a commodity. Things that are traded globally is a commodity, effectively, or things that go into other things. So anyway, you could have invested in cocoa, and you would have made double your investment in 3 months. But the reason is because West Africa has had a number of supply issues. So it's had bad weather, disease, all of that. And so this has led to small supply, not enough supply to cater for the demand. And a peak time like Easter, when everyone wants to eat chocolate, it means there's a huge spike in demand, but they can't keep up with supply. So prices are skyrocketing, which is annoying because we kind of have got over the inflation chat. And we're like,
oh my God, I just realized that.
Yeah.
We didn't really have a goodbye inflation party.
No.
Or talk about the fact, if someone like has a chipped tooth, you're like chip tooth, and then as soon as it's fixed, you kind of forget it was chipped.
Yeah.
I sort of forgot about inflation.
Yeah, it's like an annoying sound.
And then
you slowly start to not notice it, and then when it goes away, you're like, oh. Anyway, we could. Instead of price was right.
My flatmate, this guy I've just moved in with, this morning was making his bagels, and he was like, have you heard of shrinkflation? I was like, I have actually. He was like, my bagels, I swear, are like half the size that they used to be. It is so annoying.
Yeah. So we might see some shrinkflation, but this is the worst supply of cocoa in 60 years. And we're probably going to see these impacts for another 2 years still. So, yes, happy Easter, everyone. In other news, we've got an update on WeWork, actually. We actually had a meeting at a WeWork yesterday.
Oh, yeah, we did. It was quite nice, actually.
Yeah. It's quite nice when you like talk about things and then you experience.
And this is, I know that you're taking the piss, but it is actually quite a good example of how you can interact with your investments outside of your computer screen or the stock market.
Yeah.
Because you're right, that's such a good example of like, okay, what does it look like in here? Is it a vibe? Is it full? Is it empty? Like,
is it, even if it's a product, it's like, are the desks in tatters and is everyone saying hi or not? You know, like, you can just get a vibe check.
Well, it's a product.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, the founder, Adam Neumann, he has reportedly made an offer to buy back the business.
Wait, so why did he leave in the first place?
Dollar company, and now he's bidding for it 500 million. Like quite kind of opportunistic.
I think it's just pretty cool that he's coming back after years. He's still like, no, I still believe in this business. I still want to be the CEO.
And then now imagine if he creates all that value again in the business and gets it back to $40 billion business. He would have made a killing. But
I also rate the ego he's putting aside by coming back again.
Yeah.
You know, if something,
it's like Steve Jobs.
What happened with him?
Well, he got kicked out again because he just didn't align with the strategic direction of Apple. Got kicked out.
When was this?
Then he came back. Oh, this was like in the 80s, I want to say. And then he came back and took that business from strength to strength.
Really?
Yeah.
See, like, I do think that's sort of not to gender it, but I think if someone gives me feedback or constructive criticism or says no or whatever, you really do have to have such strong belief in yourself to come back again and again.
Yeah.
And I don't know I think
there's also a lot of people, there's also a lot of CEOs that stand in the way of and think they know and can make the appropriate decisions for their business when sometimes an outsider view can be a lot better. So it's almost moving away from your ego, stepping aside, letting someone else that might be a bit more skilled in running a bigger business or something like that take the reins and you benefit. But sometimes people are like, nah, I want to be the leader or I'm out. You know, like there could be a bit of, I don't want to be told what to do. I don't know. Anyway, but quite interesting that when they filed for bankruptcy, this allowed them to renegotiate all the leases that they had on their properties, well, most of them in the US and in Canada. So they're now in a much stronger position financially because they've got all these new terms and lease agreements. So I don't know, it'd be interesting to see what happens, but quite a FU to people that kicked them out.
Do you think, though, bankruptcy, just hearing you talk about the way in which now they're in a better position financially, surely all the landlords and all of those people are kind of effed over by the new deals, right? So,
totally.
So can you strategically bankrupt yourself for something like this to happen?
You can, but I think there's a rule around if you go bankrupt, if you're a director of a business that goes bankrupt, you can't then start a new business for 7 years.
7?
Yeah, there's something around that.
Whoa.
So if the Curve went bankrupt, we couldn't start.
I just blame you.
Yeah, it was all, thanks, babe. Literally.
So, like the final hour, just
it
desert
was so
you.
funny when we were sitting here and you ran upstairs to get your headphones and I was like, if they come in, I'm going to blame it on Soph and say, oh, my business partner, I thought my business partner booked the room.
Into the room?
Yeah. Be like, oh, I thought she did it. Sorry. Just blame it on. And you'd walk back in and be like, what? Anyway, okay, so other news, and we're a bit late to the party with this one, but we didn't do a Curve Weekly last week. Reddit has IPO'd. Woohoo! And it was up 50% on the day that it IPO'd.
That just doesn't surprise me. It's power to the people, you know?
Power to the people. But, so it jumped up 50% on the day and kind of finished down.
Can you give context for people who might not know who's invested in it? Some people might have missed the memo that it was available.
Yeah, so Reddit, the social media platform, IPO'd, which means it publicly listed its shares for the first time. So you and me, Joe Blogs, we can all buy shares if we want to. And some of its users actually got access to buy shares. So it was kind of this whole power to the people. We're going to open up the IPO to our users as well as everyday retail investors. But anyway, so it did really well. So it shot up 50% and then kind of came down a bit, but ended up 30%, which is amazing for an IPO. Like particularly, it's quite a risky investment. Nobody knows what it's going to do, if there's going to be people once at IPOs that are still going to buy shares, or did everyone get what they wanted at the IPO and therefore they're not going to buy more. You know, you want to create that support and that hype once at IPOs as well. So anyway.
How are they even monetizing? Is it advertising?
Yeah. It's valued at $6.5 billion now. And just the other day, a short report came out. So this is a hedge fund that has short a whole lot of Reddit shares, which means they profit if the share price falls. The mechanisms of shorting stock we can get into another day, but it's effectively when you borrow stock. So I'd go to you and say, hey, can I borrow this? Spooked people. People are like, oh, you guys probably know what you're talking about.
But what if it turns into a meme stock where all the people band together and then they're like, do you know what? Actually, F you hedge fund, we're all going to buy it and then you're going to be absolutely screwed.
Yeah, well, it's funny because Reddit was the platform that all the meme stocks started from.
So for anyone that's never listened to this podcast before or maybe missed the full memo, so meme stocks, there was Bed Bath & Beyond, there was
GameStop.
God, a GameStop, even the word sounds iconic now. Basically what happened was actually, I think I can not explain it properly.
So what happened is that people got onto Reddit and were like, hey, this company's share price is down in the dumps, but let's all band together and buy it. And it's because hedge funds were short the stock of, say, Bed Bath & Beyond. And they were like, let's fuck with the hedge funds. Let's fuck with the big people that...
And the reason that they're fucking with them is because if the share price goes up from people buying it, as in everyone on Reddit buys Bed Bath & Beyond, and this hedge fund is short the stock, it means that they could go out of business
they
or lose
so much money. So every time the share price goes up, and if it goes up and up and up and up and up, they're losing money hand over fist for infinity, really, until the share price stopped going up. So this was like, let's screw with the big guys in the ivory tower, you know, like let's power to the people. And they did. And a lot of hedge funds went bust. They'd lost so much money. And so it's quite funny that now, and I honestly was expecting for someone to come out. If your platform is screwing with hedge funds, the hedge funds are going to come after you. Do you know? It's like a bit of cat and mouse. It's like,
oh, do you think they're doing a bit of a FU?
Totally. It's
I
like,
wouldn't be publicizing the very platform that could do the exact same thing again.
Yeah.
To me. Like, it's basically like being like, here's my big weak spot, come and shoot me.
Yeah. It's also just like, chill. Stop trying to get one up on each other.
See, I'm into it. I'm here for the drama.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for it.
I am here for the drama. Yeah. Anyway, so its share price has fallen quite a bit in the last week. I think it's about 11%. So it's still above its IPO price, but this has spooked a few investors. Eek.
Damn.
And you're going to hate this one.
Oh, God. Oil companies are doing really well again.
McDonald's. You know what I was saying the other day to Soph? Just off the record before. So my loud budgeting was no Uber Eats for a year.
And loud budgeting, for anyone that missed it, is this TikTok trend that was like, you basically broadcast something that you're committing to not spend money on or budget on, and like everyone can keep you accountable because you've shouted it from the rooftops.
So yeah, I'm not using Uber Eats for a year. That's what I shouted. Oh my gosh.
We're going to get kicked out of this room.
We're getting kicked out of this room really quickly. Anyway, oh my God, it sounds like someone's coming.
Were you going to say you've saved heaps? Where were you
I'm more convenience. I'm like, burger, let's just do it. Whereas I feel like you would probably starve and then go home and make your own cashew mayonnaise or something.
I'm so impressed that you think that's who I am and that I'm still giving off that vibe. I'm real happy to hear it.
I remember living with you and you were like making your own cashew mayonnaise or some shit. And I was like, girl, just buy it. Honestly, like the time it's taken you, I would be so hangry that I would be. Anyway, sorry, we're getting so sidetracked.
But before we do get back onto it, I think you need to confess something about your other loud budgeting. Because they had 2 loud budgeting.
This is coming from you. You haven't even done one.
No, but you have to admit it. I know, but I didn't commit. You did.
I know, but
we're not having a fight on the podcast.
Okay. I broke my coffee one.
I can't believe you didn't think I'd bring that up.
I know.
So Vic made another loud budgeting, which was she wasn't going to spend more than 2, like she wasn't going to spend money on more than 2 takeaway coffees.
And it's so hard in London when you're running from A to B, or I don't even have a place to live, so I don't have a coffee machine.
I reckon it's that you knew no one knows you in London and you could get away with it.
And if someone hit me up, I'd be like, no, this is just my first one for the week.
Anyway, sorry, we can get back to whatever you
sorry,
were about
miss,
to share.
like throw me under the bus, but I don't have any of my own loud budgetings.
Yeah, fair.
Anyway, yes. So McDonald's has just done a deal with Krispy Kreme donuts. So you'll be able to go to McDonald's, certain locations in the US, and you'll be able to buy donuts with your Big Mac combo. I know, I'm just like, my heart is like hurting just hearing that.
That's good though.
Yeah. People go off for Krispy Kremes.
Krispy Kreme is pretty iconic.
They're at the airport and I always see people getting like trays and trays of them. And I'm just like, are they that? I've never had one.
Really?
I mean, the Little and Friday donuts in Auckland, if you're ever in Auckland, shout out to Little and Friday. Oh my God.
The original glazed Krispy Kremes, you bite into them and they kind of melt. Probably because they're 99.9% fat.
Yeah.
But they are pretty yummy.
Well, maybe a tie-up between McDonald's and Krispy Kreme works then.
I thought you were going to say they put the burger in the donut or something.
I mean, they could have. But anyway, Krispy Kreme, from a revenue generating perspective, they generated nearly $2 billion in revenue from donuts last year.
What would their markup be to be making that much money?
That's crazy. And they've maintained revenue growth every year for the last 10 years. So they've maintained a decade streak of revenue growth year after year after year. So for the last 10 years, their revenue has grown year on year on year.
Are they private?
I find public.
Really?
Which I find fascinating, considering we're moving into a world where it's like health, wellness, and donuts are growing. The sales of donuts are growing more and more.
I think the health and wellness niche is a niche. I think that our bubble and people we know I think it's a privilege to be able to eat healthy and to know about how good XYZ is for your body when it comes to exercise or food or any kind of nutrition. I actually think, I do think we're in like a privileged bubble of being able to look after our health, and there's a massive percentage of the world who it just wouldn't cross your mind buying a donut. It wouldn't be like, oh, this is unhealthy. It's like,
well, if I think back to when I was younger and what I,
to be fair, I used to buy Krispy Kremes.
Yeah, like what I didn't know about food and how food is energy, and you know, if you eat bad food,
influence that?
But if you eat bad food, that's going to impact your focus, your energy, your just like your day-to-day living. But yeah, if you don't know that and you're not privy to that, it'd be so hard to function as well as, anyway, there's like so many aspects to having good health. Anyway, so they've had this stellar run of growth and everyone's kind of like, what's next? So then the fact that they've announced this deal with McDonald's.
Huge.
It's huge. Yeah, they're going to be in nearly 14,000 locations in the US.
Has the share price already gone up?
It was up 40% on this announcement. I really feel like a donut.
Should we go have a treat? I think we deserve it, actually.
I've been treating myself, though. I think it's just like the shit weather. And I'm like, I'll just get a bag of lollies. A treat.
It's something's not a treat when you like bags of lollies.
I know.
So not a bag of lollies, girl.
I know. I've become one and I hate it.
Give me some French fries any day of the week, breakfast, lunch or dinner.
Don't.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, actually, now I can go to McDonald's and get a donut and you can get some French fries.
We actually didn't practice that ending.
No.
And hopefully...
Fancy Nancy.
Yeah, is okay with this ending. We don't have anywhere to be. We're really happy to be here.
And maybe we'll just stay on the line for
Do you want
longer.
us to stay here? We'll stay.
Just stay here. I feel like we're about to get kicked out.
And that is the Curve Weekly for this week. Do you think she's going to listen again, or will she hate us for calling it out? Because I genuinely appreciate the feedback.
Same.
I know it seems like maybe we're being a bit mean, but
I do think the last few episodes
we have rambled a lot.
No, and we've had to be like, rush.
Oh, have we?
I mean, I just like the efficiency, in and out, you know?
Oh, so maybe we actually are rushed.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Well, we'll work on that. Put some more time aside. Do you reckon we
Wrap this up?
Yeah, cool.
Oh, maybe not yet. Maybe not yet.
I'm fine. I don't have anywhere to be.
No, neither. Nothing to do. Okay, let's go. So much to do.